How's it going, everybody? It's me, Shane, and I'm here to give you another Spy Family episode review, and recap. Today's episode is episode 9, Show Off How Much in Love You Are. So, before I go any further, please show me some love and go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. I need you guys to leave a comment down there because I love to hear what you're thinking. And if you're already subscribed here, please hit the notification bell, be notified of more videos just like this. Even though it may seem like I'm slowing down, I'm not. Just gotta figure out how we're gonna do these things. Some of the shows that have been missing from here, I'm gonna start clumping them in 2 episode bites. And please be expecting something brand new to show up next week. 2 new things to show up next week. But without any further ado, let's talk about this episode. Look at Lloyd's face. His face is almost my face at the same time. Because, man, remember last week we were talking about Yuri Breyer showing up, and he's like, hey, you all want to show me that you're in love? Kiss. And Lloyd was like, all right. He went to Twilight mode, and in 100 seconds, he's right there. He's ready to lay that smooch down. And now, uh, they're whispering to one another because Yor goes, hold on, wait a second. Takes the wine, drinks it, inebriated instantly. Right, that liquor just flows through the briars, and she's thinking, she's like, I can't do this sober. All right, and you know, Lloyd's like, hey, excuse me, we don't have to do this if you don't want to. She's like, nah, let's go ahead and do this, for the sake of the family, for the sake of us, right? And Yuri's like, why are you whistling? She pushes Lloyd down. She straddles this man. She's like, all right, darling, here I come. They're about to do it. And he's like, you're about to be so lewd. Does he call her Onechan? I forget how he calls her, call her sister, but he's like, you're about to get lewd. And we get a flashback from him of when he got the highest marks in the classroom for a test, and for a reward she kisses him on the cheek. It's all cute, and he goes, you know what, One-chan, when I get older I'm gonna marry you. And she's like, well, I guess I have to wait patiently. And there are dojins about stuff like this, but we will not go any further than that. And so he's about to run in. She, at the last minute, because Lloyd is all ready for it, right? And Yor straight up goes, I can't do it. She goes to slap Lloyd. Remember, she's drunk. Ends up hitting her brother, sending him spiraling like Alpha Counter from Street Fighter, blocks spiraling into the roses, into the wall. And Anya has the funniest faces. This is straight out of the manga because I've seen the panels. She gets up, she looks around, she's like, "What's that? Is at the end of the world?" And that's what they translated, but literal translation, she would have said, "Is that a nuke?" I can see why they wanted to change it, but funny. And then she just goes right back to sleeping. And where am I at here? Lloyd is just dumbfounded, which is actually the face he has right here. He's dumbfounded. um, he says, he's like, I guess my big sister couldn't wait to do lewd things with him. It wasn't you that was being tested. It was really me and my feelings that were being tested. And Lloyd the whole time's like, you're bleeding, man. Like, you're bleeding. And he's like, Lloyd Forger, you may have claimed my sister's lips, and she slaps him again, hides her face in her hands. Like, what are you even about to say? And dude goes spinning, crashing again, and Lloyd is like, dude, you're bleeding. And he's like, is this normal for the Briars? And they're both about to fall out because she's like, you're about to pass out. He's like, well, look at you, you can't. They're, she catches him before he falls because not only is he drunk, he has suffered 2 Yor slaps. And Lloyd comes in right before they both fall and gets Yuri on the other side. He's like, "Why are you smirking?" And he's like, well, "I'm just smiling because it's obvious, how much you two love each other. I can tell that you've been protecting one another all the way up until this point." And they both kind of squeeze on each other a little because it's like, oh, this is kind of becoming a tender moment, right? And he thanks Yuri. He's like, "Thank you for protecting Yuri this entire time." Um, I gotta admit, I'm kind of envious, because oh no, wait, that comes later. Ignore what I just said there. He says, but now I'm gonna try to do my part. I'm gonna protect her, and let's both work to make sure that Yora's happy. Yuri freaks out. Is like, get off of me. He's like, I won't believe you, and he's like, I'm going home. And Lloyd is still putting on the good guy act. He's still being a good guy for the most part, because even though he is a spy and he does really good job acting, it's been said that he is still seemingly a good guy, right? And he's saying, come by anytime. I'm sure that will make you happy. You got to meet my daughter. Make sure you come earlier. And even yours, like, yeah, Anya-san is a precious. I hope you play with her. And he's like, I don't need permission to come back. I'm gonna come back. And you know what, Lloyd Forger, if you make her cry, I'll And he before he's about to say execute, he says, well, you know what I was gonna say. You'll rue the day. And he's yelling and running away, and yours like, hey, be mindful of the neighbors, don't cause a lot of noise, be careful going home. And Lloyd's thinking, you about to say you're gonna have me executed. I'm gonna have to be careful. And while they're washing the dishes and putting everything away, he's thinking like, I gotta be on my guard, just for the fact that that's her brother. I don't even know if she knows. He's checking for wiretaps and stuff, and she thanks him for welcoming Yuri into their home, even though he was rude. And he's like, he clearly loves you, and you guys are close. I have no friends or family outside of Anya, and even back his mind, he's like, even though that relationship is fake too. So he's a little bit envious, and they're both glad that he didn't find out about their fake marriage and everything. And she's like, yeah, after we're done, let's go to bed. And we get this good gag of like, remember, they made their room one room just in case he decided to stay over. And he's like, I'll change the rooms back, because they're both in there ready to go to sleep. And they're both blushing, so he has to change the rooms back. And Anya's asleep saying, Papa, please save the world. It's adorable. Not Yuri, Yor is asleep going, Yuri, if you hit Lloyd, I'm going to be mad. And that's just adorable too. And Lloyd is up reading Spy Wars, trying to connect with his daughter. Good dad. And he's thinking to himself, he's like, man, it's been a long time since I've ever been envious of somebody. He was telling the 100% truth that he was envious of that relationship. Wow. Uh, and he's like, you know what? Maybe I'm just tired. I'm gonna go to sleep. So not only we have so many layers here. The guy who was a spy, he is legitimately wants a real functioning relationship. He wants to feel like, whether it's just kinship or friendship, he's like, man, I'm actually kind of jealous of that. And he's still trying to get closer to this daughter who he keeps. It's almost as if he's talking to us, but it seems like he's trying to remind himself that he is not her real father. So next morning, everyone's getting up. But before that, during the night, in the alley, and I'm like, oh man, what's gonna happen? Yuri comes up to these two guys, blood still spurting from his head. He's like, which way to the station? They're like, you need to go to the hospital first. So next morning, sleepy Anya, it's cute Anya, it's best Anya. And, she says, good morning. And she's like, Papa, you seem kind of green. Oh, that Esper ability must also interlace with empathy and feeling people's feelings, because she know about that jealousy. He's like, hey, go wash your face. And so I like that it is acknowledged. Even the mangaka acknowledges that Yor's whole swoopy thing, that's just a hairstyle she does. Like seeing characters in different dress getting ready, I like that. That is next level storytelling with illustrations, right? And she said, yeah, it's a shame you didn't get to meet Yuri. And Iron's like, who's that? She's like, you were excited to meet him. How did you forget who this guy was? So Anya's walking up because she got to get ready. She got to go to school, right? And Lloyd is thinking about Yuri being part of the secret police, and that's my greatest enemy. And Anya's reading in his mind. She's like, shock. She's like, wait, what's secret police? I don't know, but it sounds exciting, right? And she's like, why didn't you wake me up? And he's like, you really wanted to meet him that badly, huh? And she's like, Unky. I love it, Unky. And he thinks, has the threat pass, maybe the threat has passed, but what if it hasn't? And yours telling Anya he'll she'll meet him one day because she's kind of sulking while eating. But Lloyd is thinking in his mind, you know, Yor doesn't know he's part of the secret police, right? But what if this is an act to get closer to me? But if she actually knew he was in the secret police, she wouldn't have been worried about the whole single ladies thing, right? And so he's thinking, no, I gotta suspect everything. And Anya hears it and she wants to say Mama is. She wants to tell him that she's an assassin and that she's not actually. I get the feeling that whoever she assassins for, whatever this guild is, they don't really take a side. Because the funny part is, it looks like the secret police will actually want to throw her in jail too. Even though it looks like she assassinates traitors. Who knows what traitors are? The show has been the manga's been going on for a while. So I wonder when we're gonna get to the point where we find out Anya's secret and they have to save Anya, and while saving Anya, they uncover each other's secret, and we get a Mr. and Mrs. Smith style showdown with Anya in the middle, telling both of them what each of them feels. And it's like, you both pretty much love each other, and you love this little girl. There's no way you're gonna break this up. And then the ultimate climax should be there fighting against the giant corporate mega secret people that want to make the end of the world. That needs to be a thing if that's where this is going. But this is just me speculating in the middle of this episode. So before she even goes to say Mama's assassin, she says Mama's cooking is bad, and she's like, you could tell I cooked breakfast just because of how bad it was. So Anya keeps it in, and I love the subtlety of like the reflection in the fork, because you can see Anya is like, these two are not gelling. And it goes even further because Lloyd wants to put a bug on Yor to just make sure that everything's on the up and up. But even in his mind, he's like, this feels like it's going too far. He's like, no, you gotta do it. You gotta be sure. And when he goes to touch her lapel, she thinks that he's gonna kiss him. She's like, oh, I still can't get last night out of my head. But she's like, I can't kiss. I can't cook. I'm not being a proper wife. And she's like, I can feel the distance from him. I love that her fighting abilities and her instincts are so high that she's like, I can feel him drawn away. Even though this is a fake relationship, he was somewhat close to her, right? It feels like this fake relationship is the only real thing in any of their lives. But even she can feel it. And while they're going to see Anya off to the school bus, before she gets on, she's like, Mama and Papa need to get along. And they both kind of look at each other and they look at, back to her and like, well, we're not fighting. She's like, no, not at all. We're not fighting. She's like, mm-hmm. And he's like, make sure you get along with your classmates. And she's like, yep. And she awkwardly gets on the bus. Just, Anya is literally the best thing about this show. I don't care if Yor is your waifu. I don't care if Lloyd is your husbando. You weebs. Anya is the best part of this show. I can't believe that in a shonen show, the best part is she's probably the best kid character in any anime or manga so far. I can't think of any others that aren't complete trash. That well, I like Gohan, but that we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. Anyway, so um, Yuri's at work. He's all bandaged up. Scarface man is like, yeah. So how'd you get all that? Did you cause a fight with your brother-in-law? And he's like, I don't really remember what happened, but I think he was a good guy. And he's mad about it. And inside Yuri's locker is all these pictures of Yor. And it doesn't even seem like they were secretly taken. It's just young pictures, current pictures, growing up pictures. Wow, he really was a sister con. Her asshole coworker was right. And so, dude lights up a cigarette. He's like, I told you you need to stop drinking. And he thinks, well, Scarface goes, well, is her husband a deplorable guy? And he's like, no, but con men and spies, they can pretend easily. And if he's a spy, I'll throw him in a cell. And dude's like, do you have any proof of that? And he starts hitting his head on the. He starts hitting his head on the locker. He's like, I forgot to bug and wiretap their place. He's like, but I don't want to hear my sister's voice in their most intimate moments. And dude's like, look, you need to detach yourself from your sister so you can get the job done, which is capturing spies from the West, particularly Twilight. who he's met. Dun dun dun. And he's thinking to himself, if he makes her cry, and meanwhile, Yor's typing and she is crying, and I'm like, damn. And the crappy coworkers, man, I think all of us have had friends like this before. But anyway, they're like, what's wrong with her? And one tells the other, she's been just muttering all day that she's a failure as a wife. Again, dude is listening in. And where am I at? Dude, Lloyd is listening in, and she asked the girls when Sharon comes in. She asked the girls, how to be a better wife. She never really had a relationship with a man like this before. And Lloyd's like, I did look through her thing, and I guess she never really did date another man before. She's worried that she can't cook. Uh, Lloyd cooks better than she does, and Lloyd's thinking, well, man, Anya's words really did get to her. And, she's trying to be the best wife for this pretend family. That's why he's like, man, she really is trying. He goes, wait a minute, nope. What if this is just a ruse to catch me off my guard? Man, that spy mind is gonna eat him up. And I know people like that. I'm gonna start calling this the spy mind because I know people who that's a common thing for a lot of people. Like, nah, there's got to be a trick. There's a double thing to this, and it's okay to be on your guard. Don't be a fool. Don't be dumb. Just you feel like this is Lloyd's auto, like this is his default mode is suspicious mode. So, excuse me. One person says, "Well, why don't you two just call it quits?" And yours like, I would like to avoid that, please." And even Lloyd's like, "Yeah, your coworkers are dot dot dot." You're looking for a word that rhymes with itchy, Lloyd. You're looking for that. So the boss comes in, says, "Hey, all this lollygagging," hands Yor a letter and says, "Mail this off." And so Lloyd's like, "All right, it's time to just clear the air once and for all." So she's walking through. She sees a lot of family ads. She sees a thing about a joint bank account. She's like, "We do have our own accounts, and I could get money from my real job to help him out." But she's like, "I don't want him being suspicious and asking where did this come from." And she's just thinking and thinking about what she can do to help. Meanwhile, the secret police come up to her and say, "Can we have a conversation with her?" It's Scarface and some other guy. It kind of looks familiar. So she's like, "Oh man, it's the secret police." All right, and then Scarface, we've seen Scarface before. You know, she's thinking that all the ads that she looked at that was for family, she must have been caught lacking. And she says, "Hey, I'm married." And the other guy that's not Scarface, looks kind of familiar. He's like, "Yeah, we're not trying to hit on you." And so Scarface thinks back, and it's actually Lloyd and Frankie. The guy looks familiar because it looks like a handsome Frankie. Frankie has a big wide head. This face is a little bit more, you know, right there. And he's like, "Why are we dressing up in disguise to question your wife?" He's like, "Just shut up, follow the mission plan. I got this." So Lloyd is actually Scarface, which begs the question: has Lloyd seen this guy before? Because he knows his voice and mannerisms very well to be able to disguise. Instead of just making up a fake face, he knows this guy. So Frankie's now getting way too into this role, and they're saying, "Yeah, you were sending this off, right?" He's like, "We called a cipher in here." They're like, "What's your name?" She's like, "You're Bright." Sorry, Fortress. She's like, "Yeah, you're in on this too." Uh, Based on this cipher XYZ, blah 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 blah, and they're saying, "Yeah, we caught a guy from your office the other day." And Frankie's going way too into it. He's like, "Yeah, the dude got tortured so bad he just offed himself. And we caught another lady too, remember?" And Lloyd's like, "What kind of character is he trying? Is he trying to play a skeevy type of character?" He just goes, "Yeah, but apparently she had someone that worked in the head office, so they let her go." And they're like, "Yeah, having somebody that works there is really convenient, so you won't have to go through these kind of things." And so this is the trap they're doing. If she's aware that he's in there, she could just that he's in the secret police. She could just go, "Hey, my brother works there. Clear this up with him." Which again, Scarface would have seen her picture on the wall. Initially, I thought this was them trying to get her to reveal anything about Lloyd, but nah. Um, where am I at here? And so, where am I at? Where am I at? And so she says, I work very hard for this country. I do not participate in espionage. She doesn't. She does assassinations. Anyway, um, so Frankie's character comes up and touches her on the shoulder. She freaking judo flips him and twists his arm. She's like, I told you I'm married. Do not touch me casually. I love it. Oh, I love it. So Frank, fake Scarface, Lloyd, is like, you realize you're putting your family in danger, right? And by doing this, right? And she says, my younger brother and husband are upstanding citizens in this country. And she does the iconic hand crack, puts it in the chop position, holds her clutch, and she's like, you know what? If you're trying to cause any harm to them, I have no problem taking out the both of you. And she gets those death eyes, those slanted death eyes that are ready to kill, and facing off against fake Scarface slash her husband. And he's just looking at her for a minute, and he goes, wait a minute, I think we have the wrong cipher. One side is a tanuki, the other side's a little worm. And he's like, yeah, I think we crossed this up. Apparently he's having hemorrhoids and he's trying to keep it a secret. I got it. I got it. And they're saying, you know what, we apologize for the mistake. Make sure you keep this a secret for Mr. Burns. That's the guy's name, her boss's name. Keep this for his sake too. And she's like, okay. And so let her out of the alley. And she doesn't do a full on run away. She just kind of do a jaunt to get back to the office. And Frank is like, well, it's obvious she doesn't know anything about her brother being secret police. Rips off that fake Scarface face. And Frankie's like, you don't feel guilty about bugging her, about doubting her, do you? And he's like, no. He's like, no. Frankie's like, hey, I warned you about having feelings, catching feelings for. She actually meant catching feelings for both of them, but catching feelings for her. We survive from being suspicious about everyone. That is the only way we as spies can survive. And Lloyd's like, I can't listen to that coming from this face, and rips off Frankie's fake face. He's like, no, I was going to use this to get chicks. I was hot. And Lloyd goes, you shouldn't get in a relationship with women and deceive them. And he's like, you're really not the one saying this, right? Remember, we first met Lloyd where he deceived one dude's daughter to get with her. Dude, it was in the weird gang thing, and now he's in this pseudo fake relationship, this pseudo fake marriage. And for him to say that is hilarious. So it's time to go home. Yours walking home. She's like, I failed and everything. Her nerves are racked. And Lloyd pulls up. He's like, hey. He's like, hey, we just happened to be here at the same time. Reaches her lapel. He's like, oh, you got some lint there. Takes the bug off of her, right? And she apologizes. She says, I can't even keep up appearances of being a good wife. And he says perhaps many families go through this. I'm glad I took time to write this down because this is a really important thing. Many families throughout this world are somehow putting on the act, thinking a wife should be like this, or you're supposed to be, or you're supposed to be the parent. And he believes that working hard to be your best self is admirable, but if you dwell on that so much, you will lose yourself. And things that should go well don't go well when that happens. And I love how they show like a woman with her baby, this old married couple, uh, got a dog. I don't get that one. Maybe I didn't pay too close attention. Maybe it was him walking the dog with his significant other. But I liked those zoom ins to be like, even the narrator says in episode 2, begin episode 3, sometimes people put on fake facades to get through life and they don't show their real face to everybody, right? That is the whole crux of this. But he says putting on an act can be tiring. He wants her to be herself. The more confident she is, the less anybody's gonna suspect anything. And I is gonna be happy to see her smile. She just upright says, "I'm grateful to have married you." And he gets the blush face, and I'm thinking to myself, this man's fake relationship is the realest thing in his life. You have an actual little girl that genuinely loves you, and we know you love her too. You have this fake wife that it's becoming more and more apparent that you actually love her. And some of the panels I've seen people put up pretty much verify this very thing. So it's interesting. So and he hears Frankie's words again in his head. It says, "You you shouldn't be. You're not really catching feelings, are you?" He crushes that bug and throws it in the trash. And again, here's yours. Good Spidey sense. She's saying, "What'd you throw away there?" He's like, "Oh, just the lint that I took off of you." You know what? We haven't celebrated our 1 year anniversary. Ho wink. Get it? They've been fake married for a year. Not really, but on the thing it says they've been married a year. He's like, "Why don't we get some cake on the way home?" She's like, "Sounds lovely." Anya gets off the bus. Anya goes home, and her little splinkety blinkety dinkety that stuff goes off, and she looks at her parents. Mama and Papa are getting along, and excuse me. Wait. Yeah, Mama and Papa are getting along, and they're like, "We told you nothing bad was happening. Come on, let's have cake." She's like, "I want some cake." That's the end of the episode. Right there in the fields. Right there in the fields. Such a good episode. Next week is the dodgeball plan. Looks like we're gonna get some serious action going on here. I gotta say, I'm gonna give this a 4. Tempted to give it a 4 point. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 because we are like entering. These are the episodes. These are the moments that you will quote. But like this was the beginning of seeing this relationship actually bud forth. Because the moment that if they actually have a real fight is like assassin versus spy, I look forward to just the flashbacks of this of them going like, "Hey, I like you being you. Was that all a lie?" Well, no, but you were lying. This there's so much truth within this weird lie because it feels like the pretend thing is the real thing for them. Yeah, her real job is killing. She wants to be able to do that and not have to worry about stuff. His real job is trying to protect the world. He wants to do that and achieve his mission. But somehow he to have world peace. He has to read Spy Master to get close to his fake daughter. His fake wife was like, "Yeah, I could. She could just be doing whatever and not caring, but she actually wants to be a better wife and mother." Seems like the mask is the real face. 4.5 out of 5. Let me know what you thought of this episode. Let me know what you think of this series so far. It's action comedy with now I can't even call it a slice of life because there's no life pieces here, but it's cute. It's wonderful. I'm thankful for this, especially when we got all those action packed shonen stuff coming up very soon. This is a nice, good palate cleanser. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Don't think I've forgotten about the other animes that I'm doing this season. Just I'm behind, but I have not forgotten. Uh, Above all else, thank you for spending some time with me. Please hit that like button. Subscribe if you are new here. And you know what? If you're not new here, you've been watching and aren't subscribed, why aren't you? Go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. We're trying to get to 200 subscribers and beyond. Above all else, don't forget you can share the video so that others can see what a great time we're having. Thank you once again. Look, be good, be blessed. Wash your hands, wear a mask. Be safe out there. Be good to yourself, be good to others. Either way it goes. Don't be a jerk. And I'm going to definitely see you all next time. We.